The February 15th, 2022 meeting of the Fox River Valley Public Library District Board of Trustees beginning at 7 p.m. will be conducted by video conference without a physically present quorum of board trustees in accordance with state law. The board president has determined an in-person meeting is not practical or prudent because of the continued disaster declaration from the governor's office related to COVID-19, nor is it feasible for a library trustee, the executive director, or library attorney to be present at the library. Notice of this virtual meeting has been provided to the public in advance, and instructions to attend virtually and/or comment were detailed in the notice. A recording of this meeting will be available on the library's website by Friday, February 25th. I call to order the February 15th, 2022 meeting of the Fox River Valley Public Library District Board of Trustees at 7:02. Can everyone see and hear each other? All votes will be roll call tonight because we are meeting by video conference. So is everybody good?
So far.
Excellent. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
A little out of sync, but
yep. Chris, can you call the roll?
Yes. Matt?
Here.
Marianne?
here.
Tara?
Here.
Dave?
Here.
Chris, I'm here. Richard?
Here.
And Christina?
Here.
We are all present and accounted for.
Excellent. The board recognizes its responsibility to provide an opportunity for anyone wishing to comment at any meeting to do so. Due to current public health concerns, the February 15th meeting will be conducted by video conference. Any person viewing the meeting online and/or wishing to comment will be accommodated in accordance with the stated public notice. Citizens will not be requested to sign in to comment, and each speaker will be allowed 5 minutes. Are there any comments? Okay, on to the president's report. So the economic interest statements are coming up. Statute requires elected or appointed officials to file an annual economic interest statement with Kane County. The 2022 economic interest statement and its instructions will be different from years past. Administration will look into the form and instructions at the earliest possible moment and advise trustees accordingly. The statement will be emailed directly to trustees, likely toward the end of March, and it will be submitted electronically. The due date for filing is May 2nd. And from what Karen is hearing from her sources, the economic interest statement will be totally different than what we've seen in the past, right, Karen?
Yeah, there's still a handful of questions, 7 or 8 questions. The difference that you'll notice is all the instructions are written, they read like statute. There's a whole lot of legalese in them now. So we're going to take a look at that and simplify that, and we'll get that out to everybody when we have something to provide.
What was the due date again?
The 2nd of March.
May.
And you file it file it. I'm sorry, May. You're correct, and you file it electronically.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
by now you guys have received information from the administration on the Illinois Library Association's legislative meetup on Monday, February 21st at 9 a.m. It's virtual on Zoom. If you're interested and have not yet responded, please let the administration know as soon as possible so that they can submit your registration. The event is free for ILA members. And I will tell you that I didn't realize that our representative had changed. So I attended the one, oh, what was it, 2 weeks ago maybe, with Sean Caston and Lauren Underwood. They were both in attendance. And it was really beneficial, I thought, to hear about the ILA's priorities and to kind of see where things are going. So if you can attend that, that would be good. Any questions about that? Then I would say on to the director's report.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to share a screen with you. And there we go. So President Weber received some questions that a board member would like me to review. And so I'm going to start with listing those questions for you, and I can come back to this screen anytime. The first half of the questions were mostly financial. And so I have some slides to share with you to illustrate the answers to those questions. The first one is about the organization chart, and they asked for a comparison from 6 months ago to today. 6 months, it's almost 6 months since I started, which is hard to believe. So anyway, the first one I'll show you is the older organization chart. And this one was updated a few months before I started, so sometime in early 2021. And this is the way it stood under my predecessor. The new org chart that I just updated recently, which is now on your screen, hopefully, is the current organization chart that represents the reporting relationships and positions that we have now. Mostly the changes were related to which manager reports to which person. We moved some departments around and tried to share the load equally. But those are the two organization charts that were requested. And the next part of that question had to do with management positions. The question was to indicate names for current management and any planned changes, and then provide a list of promotions that were from one salary range to another. So you'll see a list there of management positions that we currently have and who holds those positions. The only change I'm predicting is that I would like to add a finance manager for the next fiscal year. So that's a position I plan to add in the future. I don't have any other future changes at the moment. The three
Amy, I just
who-
want to say, I think that the updated org chart makes a lot of sense. And
good.
I think that's great.
Good, thank you. Yeah, honestly, when I got here, the org chart was, well, it was a little crazy, and it wasn't real easy to follow. And so I'm really glad you like the new one. We've worked hard on getting that straightened out. So thank you. So the management positions that we have now, as I said, are listed on your screen with the planned addition of a finance manager in the next fiscal year. The three people who were promoted since I started, one of them was a reclassification, and that was the HR specialist to HR manager. I reclassified that position. Sherry Kenny is our HR manager and was previously a part-time specialist. But her position had already been planned for moving to full-time in the previous budget. So it was just a reclassification. The part-time to full-time part was planned in advance before I arrived. Amanda Keene is a youth services librarian. She was working for us as a part-time library assistant, even though she is a degreed librarian. And I felt that that was not the best use of her skills, and that promoting her to librarian would much better serve the organization and, of course, the families that we serve every day. So, and just as a side note, that has worked out beautifully. She's doing a wonderful job, and she's very happy in her new position, as is Sherry Kinney. She's enjoying her new position as well. And last but not least, we moved Gemma Winger from account services to facilities, which looked like a strange move, but it's actually worked out really, really well. We just needed more attention paid to safety, and we needed help in the facilities department, and so we made that change. So those are the changes that have taken place since I've arrived. The next question was to compare the salary and benefit costs of these changes.
Amy?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
I'd just like to say those all make sense to me. So thanks.
Oh.
All, good moves, I think. So.
Oh, thank you.
Good,
thank you. I appreciate it.
Good people and good moves. So.
They are. They're excellent. And then the next question was comparing the salary and benefit costs to show the impact of those promotions on our budget. We did not fill some open part-time positions that weren't needed at the time, so that actually turned out to be a savings. So the initial impact was $50,000, but we were saving $70,000. So our net savings after the promotions is still $20,000, which is wonderful. You don't usually expect it to turn out that way. So that turned out very nice. Our head count has only changed by 1 since I arrived in August. We had 59 employees, including me, and we now have 58. But we have 2 more full-time and 3 less part-time employees, which is one of my goals, is to move more part-time positions into full-time positions.
Amy, this is Matt.
Hi, Matt.
Those unfilled open positions, are they going to be filled or are they not going to be filled? What's the...
Well, the plan is to work with those departments and see if we can combine a couple of part-time positions into full-time positions. My philosophy on that is that full-time employees are much more engaged, much higher retention, and it's better for the employee as well as the organization. So I would like to combine some of those into full-time positions, but I can't tell you right this minute which ones we will keep and which ones we won't.
So these,
but we're still working on that.
These unfilled positions are all part-time?
Let's see. I think one of them is full-time.
The
youth assistant. Sorry, took me a second. The youth assistant one is full-time. But as I said, we did promote someone into a librarian position. So we may or may not have to replace that position.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So if there are any more questions, I'll go to the next screen. Part of the question was to calculate the impact of the salary scale. The salary scale was approved by the board at the last meeting, and the financial impact of that is illustrated, and it only comes out to a 1% change. Just as a reminder, the salary scale that you approved at the last meeting was primarily for the purpose of increasing the minimum wage so that we're compliant with the new minimum wage for the state of Illinois by 2024. So this year it was raised to $13 an hour, and it'll eventually be $15 an hour, but we're doing that incrementally. So that was the major change on that salary scale. But the entire impact of the new salary scale is only 1%. There's the salary scale that was approved. So, any other questions before I go on to the next one?
Yeah, Amy, this is Richard. I have one question.
Okay.
Under facilities, there's this new job of safety specialist.
Yes.
What kinds of things would that person do, given, the library's got to be a rather low risk safety environment? What kinds of things is that person going to do?
Okay, so that person does a lot of things with facilities. For one thing, they monitor the building for any kind of hazard, like a trip hazard or a ceiling tile that's wet from the roof leak, or something that needs to be moved, things like that. So it's staff safety as well as public safety. They'll also monitor all the first aid kits and do fire drills, make sure that the fire extinguishers get inspected every year and things like that. So it's all different kinds of safety. And then occasionally that person also helps out with just general facilities work.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now for the next couple of questions. Let's see, there we go. Okay, the next question was about policies for pay during COVID and quarantines. In January, we have changed our procedures for that. I know at previous meetings we've discussed emergency pay, and so we were using emergency pay for anybody who was absent due to infection or exposure or anything related to COVID. We have stopped using emergency pay in January, and we are now having employees use their own leave time, just as they would for any other illness. We haven't had any new cases in a month, which is fabulous. But if something does, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that definitely deserves applause. Thank you, Dave. But if something does come up, they'll be using their own leave time. And this is in line with what most libraries are doing in this region. I've discussed this with other directors, and everyone's doing about the same thing now.
Good.
So, oh, I'm sorry.
Good.
Okay, great. And then the fifth question is about dealing with anti-mask or anti-vaccine demonstrations. I covered this in my written report, and hopefully that will answer your questions. But just to summarize, I reviewed our procedures with the management team and made sure that our procedures were solid and ready for such an occurrence, since it's kind of unusual. And then I reviewed this by email with the entire staff. And made sure that we feel confident in what we're doing. Basically, if someone refuses to wear a mask, we can't ask them to leave and we can't throw them out. But if they cause a disturbance, then that's a completely different situation. If they cause a disturbance, we ask them to stop, to lower their voices or go outside or what have you. And if they refuse to comply with that, then they're trespassing and we call in law enforcement. This is very rare that this would happen, and I don't expect anything to happen here, especially since the governor's planning to lift the mask mandates at the end of the month. I think the issue is starting to die down, so we don't expect anything, but if it does happen, we're fully prepared. And then last but not least, the sixth question was about developing an app for the library, as well as questions about the website. And I'm going to have John Sabala answer these questions for you. But I'll just say that if anyone ever needs help and is having trouble with our website or one of our databases or whatever, please let us know, because we're happy to help you. We're happy to have somebody sit down with you and help you find what you need. So having said all of that, I'll turn it over to John.
Hello. So the question that I saw, or how I interpreted the question, was kind of geared towards the search function of our existing website. So our current website has really two search functions in it. It has a search that searches the website itself, looking for blogs, calendar events, news, things like that. The other search function is an integrated query link that sends your request off to Polaris and then searches up media, books, DVDs, games, those kinds of assets. So just to keep that in mind and the perspective, we know that the website and the searching capability are kind of antiquated. They don't help out a patron searching for detail. So our goal is for 2022 to update the website and its capabilities. What our goals are is to update the tools such as calendar and blog posting, content improvement, to make it more ADA compliant, and also to secure the environment. What I mean by that, it's the software platform itself. We're a few versions behind in our Drupal, and that needs to be updated. So we're currently reviewing other websites right now and inquiring with vendors. Additionally, the Polaris catalog, which is the other part of the search function, is possibly going to be updated. And that is under kind of like testing right now. They've done a kind of user testing, acceptance testing. I don't know if acceptance is the right word, but they're testing whether or not users would like this particular interface. That testing phase is over, and now they're going to move out to a soft launch. And we think that that launch will happen sometime late spring. Jason Katzian is running, and this new product is going to be called Vega. And Jason Katzian is part of the Vega team. And it's not being rolled out to all the libraries. There's only 6 libraries in this that are in this testing environment. But some of the things that the goals of Vega is to improve the user interface, to make it a lot more user-friendly. It's going to have a better discovery experience, and the goal is to increase engagement. And this is going to be utilizing records. Basically, Vega's goal is to change the way the searches are conducted, and it becomes more like a web search. So it hopefully will incorporate records that are not in our library, but can be cross-linked to our library as well. And then third thing that we have, and that's hopefully if sorry, I'm going to back up again. If the soft experience goes well, they hope to get this thing installed sometime in 2023. I don't know if it goes pretty fast, it might be late 2022, but the goal is 2023 from what I've seen of the timeline. Okay, and then the third thing that we have planned for 2022 is a mobile app. We put it in the budget for this year. It's going to be, the way it'll come out will be almost like our website right now. It's not going to have a lot of extra functionality as far as searching goes, but it does give a user an experience as far as running it on our app. It's made for a smaller form factor. So the searching capability might be a little bit better than what we have now, because it's going to have did you mean sense. And that means that if someone spelled something wrong, it'll come back and say, did you mean football instead of football? Those kind of things. So it will help a little, but it's not going to help a lot. When we get Vega, this new app, this mobile app, will make the user experience on the cell phone a much greater tool. And it will probably rival a lot of what we see out there now. So some of the features of the mobile app, that it's going to have the same features as Polaris. It's a smaller form factor, and it has checkout capabilities. So instead of going to a self-check machine, you could check out on your cell phone. It also has a check-in feature, but this is something that you don't have to enable. It also does ISBN scans. So you can hold up your phone, scan an ISBN at a store, and see if that's in your catalog. it also has a built-in curbside assistance. So if we ever go curbside again, we have our own curbside assistance app if we need to implement that. So all in all, we have some features some improvements that are going to happen this year, but I don't think it's going to address the search function as well as we could. Any questions?
No, John, this is Dave. Thanks. That's encouraging. I think just getting it onto a mobile app itself will be a significant step forward. I know I find it, kind of aggravating that, I have to go to Google and find FRVPLD and all that. So I do think that's a big step forward, and the improvements in the searching function to make it look Google-esque would be a huge step forward. So thanks for that.
Site too. I think updating the website's really important, both for functionality and also for image.
Yep. What other statistic I forgot to mention that I don't have on my cheat sheet? We did look at Google Analytics, and we found that 50% of our people who are hitting the website are coming from a mobile phone. So it's like 50-50 just about.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know I often just go to Google to look up a title to see if I have it spelled right before I go to our website. So
Right.
Yeah, that's it. It's very exciting, I think. So
I agree.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions about that?
what's that very Perry background that you have, John? That's
Well, it's part of Teams, so you could apply backgrounds, but I noticed
Okay.
that I noticed that the other day. I go, well, I think I'll try something different.
that's I like that.
Thank you, John. Thank you. That concludes all of the answers to the questions that were posed. The only other thing I have to add to my report is just a tiny update with our new doors. After I wrote, or after I made this chart with the status reports and updates, I learned that the date that the doors will start to be installed is probably April 4th. But it may be sooner than that. It's all a matter of how quickly, they get the materials. But we're hoping for sooner than April 4th, of course, and the work will take approximately 1 to 3 days. We don't anticipate needing to close during that time. And we don't think it will be as noisy as the new sidewalks were. So we should be able to remain open and just rerouting the public maybe one day through the west side of the building. But anyway, we're really looking forward to that and hope that it'll be finished, before mid-April. And that is all I have.
Heather, thank you so much for adding those 13-month reports in the dashboard. Those are so helpful.
Yes. Yeah, it helps a lot. Very much.
Amy, thank you very much for going through all of that for us.
Yeah.
Oh, you're quite welcome. I need to give credit to Heather for helping me put together all of the financial information and details. I couldn't have done it without her, so she gets a big bunch of the credit.
So will Heather be training the new finance manager when you?
Probably, yes. I think it'll be a team effort, but yes, definitely.
Yes. Yes. Good.
Does anyone have any other questions about the director's report or the dashboard or anything?
No,
Okay.
very well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Very well done.
Yeah,
Before I call for a, sorry,
I was just gonna comment as I read over this, every month I'm amazed at all the stuff, all the programs that you guys are doing. It's, never knew a library did all this stuff.
Well,
Yes, it's amazing.
And that's what
We
we have
are
to
the best
do
library.
to get people to realize that, because I can't tell you how many times I'll say, oh, the library did this, or oh, I wish I'd known about that. Well, do you go to the website? Do you read your newsletter? They're like, well, no, but you know, you guys have done amazing things, and I don't know how we get people to pay attention to it. I know life gets in the way, but there's just so many offerings, amazing offerings.
Yeah.
And we're always looking for new and creative ways to reach our audience. But yes, we do have amazing programs, and we're the best library in Illinois. So
There you go.
Maybe the whole nation.
probably, yes.
proud.
I'm
You
good
know,
with
it was
that.
good to see that, it was good to see that the library population has grown, our district has grown a little bit.
Yes,
Excited.
very exciting.
Yeah.
Yes.
before I call for a motion on the consent agenda, are there any items trustees would like withheld for discussion prior to approval? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve items A1A through A1J under the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Seconded.
A motion has been made by Richard and seconded by Mary Ann to approve items A1A through A1J under the consent agenda as presented. Chris, please call the roll.
Matt,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
Tara,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Chris, yes. Richard,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
passes.
We have no unfinished business. We have no new business. But we are going to adjourn to executive session. So I will now entertain a motion to adjourn to executive session in accordance with 5 ILCS 120/2C1, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Dave and Matt. So we will adjourn to executive session. Action is not expected upon return to open session. Chris, please call the roll.
Matt,
Here.
Mary Ann,
Here.
Tara,
This
Here.
is a yes. This is
Oh.
yes or no to go to.
Oh.
Sorry,
executive
yes.
session.
Yes.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Dave,
Yes.
Chris, yes. Richard,
Yes.
Christina.
Yes. We stand adjourned at 7:35. I would like to call the February 15th, 2022 Board of Trustees regular meeting back into order at 8:25 p.m. Chris, can you call the roll?
Yep. Matt,
Here.
Mary Ann,
Here.
Tara,
Here.
Dave,
Here.
Chris, yes. Here, sorry. Richard,
Here.
Christina,
Here.
and we're all still here. I do have a question.
Yes.
Within the executive session minutes, when Amy joined us, because I have to write this up,
Mhm.
then do I have to make notation that she had joined us at that time, at a specific time?
In
That would be-
executive session,
that
I'm
would be,
not sure.
Appropriate thing, yeah.
Because I think I've read that in other executive sessions when So I do, okay. Do we have any idea what time Amy joined us?
Yes, it was 8:17 when I got the text, so and I
Perfect.
jumped right in.
Perfect.
So
Perfect.
8:17.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. I didn't think about it at the time.
I will now entertain any questions from trustees or suggestions for future agenda items.
You know, Christina, maybe we ought to think about maybe a retreat or something over the next couple of months to talk about long-range planning as far as facilities and so forth, to start that thinking process.
You know, I was
You know,
just
we-
thinking about that recently. Thank you, Richard.
Mhm, mhm.
I think
The
you're right.
thing now is probably, you know, within the next month or two is a good time. Now that Amy's been with us for about 6 months and is getting the feel of the land and that maybe we should start looking out into the future.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good.
Yeah, I
we'll
think,
put that on the agenda. Sorry.
yeah, I think we need to make a plan for what would be included in that discussion. Any prep work we'd need to do
Yeah.
before that discussion, and come up with a time, you know, a Saturday morning or what have you, to do that. I think you're
Good.
right. Anything else?
No, not for me.
If none, I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
I would just like to add one thing. Christina, I think you've done an excellent job in your leadership in this, and I thank everybody else for their contributions to this. I think it was a really good discussion. And Amy, I think you're going to be pleased when you see what some of the goals we have set.
Oh, great. I'm looking
But
forward to it.
I particularly want to thank you, Christina. You've done a great job.
Thank you, Chris. That means a lot.
I agree.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
So I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's okay.
That was very kind of you. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
All right. The motion's been made by Dave, seconded by Richard. Chris, please call the roll.
Matt,
Yes.
Marianne,
Yes.
Tara,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Chris, yes, Richard,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
and it passes.
Adjourned at 8:30 p.m. on the dot.